where one day the tariffs are going to go up, and then there's going to be a delay in the tariffs, and then there's going to be a tariff on another country, and it's been up and down and up and down. And by the way, the stock market went up and down and up and down with these things. I think that the president's emphasis on tariffs right now is misguided. We can't afford short-term pain right now. The economy looks like it might be headed to a recession. We need the opposite.
A top Trump economic advisor and Fox News contributor is publicly panicking about the painful and unnecessary Trump trade war against our three biggest trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China. It's so bad that he's freaking out about it on Fox News in the hopes that Trump will change course. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we continue to cover the fallout of the painful and unnecessary Trump trade war, which, among other things, is increasing economic anxieties and the likelihood that a Trump-triggered recession is around the corner. Now, before I play this clip, I want to show you, just demonstrate who this man is, right? I want you to understand, I want you to fathom the guy that you're about to see try to gently nudge Donald Trump away from tariffs as he's panicking about them. The guy is Stephen Moore, okay? He is a Heritage Foundation economist. He worked on the Trump 2016 campaign. He worked with Larry Kudlow during Trump's first term to overhaul tax policy, and he literally wrote a book praising Donald Trump, Trump's economic genius, Trumponomics, inside the America First plan to revive our economy, okay? So this guy is not just a conservative. He's not just a Republican. He's not a rhino. He is a dyed-in-the-wool Trump cultist. But even he recognizes that this Trump trade war will be disastrous for the American people. So I want to play a couple of clips of him freaking out about it on Fox News.
But we have seen a little bit of market upset. What is your perspective on the way forward?
Well, you used the word complicated, and that's exactly what it has been over the last week, Katie, where one day the tariffs are going to go up, and then there's going to be a delay in the tariffs, and then there's going to be a tariff on another country, and it's been up and down and up and down. And by the way, the stock market went up and down and up and down with these things. I think that the president's emphasis on tariffs right now is misguided. I think we have a very wobbly economy. We saw a not very good jobs report on Friday. The consumer confidence numbers are sinking, and other indicators are not positive. The economy needs a pick-me-up, and tariffs are not a pick-me-up. What is the Trump tax cut. Congress has to get this passed as soon as possible by Memorial Day. That will provide the stimulus the economy needs.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Okay, again, once again, demonstrating his conservative bona fides. He's advocating for additional Trump tax cuts, which the vast majority of which disproportionately went to the people who need it the least in this country, right? So again, not a liberal economist by any stretch. He wants these tax cuts, which, by the way, contributed immensely to the national debt, which is something that debt hawks and conservatives used to complain about, except when it comes to their tax cuts, then they don't care. Once again, wildly unprincipled. But again, Stephen Moore is publicly panicking about this. You know, I think it's Katie Pavlik is the guest host here, the one in the middle. You know, she tried to massage Trump by saying, "Oh, you know, a little bit of market upset." And you know, Stephen Moore's like, "No, it's up, down, up, down, up, down. You know, this tariff, that tariff. I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to add it here." I mean, it's a wildly incoherent strategy that other Fox News hosts, other MAGA Fox News hosts like Maria Bartiromo, have tried to extract some sort of sense from Trump or some sort of method to his madness, and have come up short time and time and time again. I just think it says something that somebody with this, you know, again, right-wing pedigree, particularly in relation to Trump, is freaking out about the Trump behavior and pointing out, again, all the signs indicating that, you know, obviously we don't have a crystal ball. It's entirely possible that this passes because many people expected that under the Biden administration we would experience a recession, and we didn't. Okay, so it's possible that the Trump economy will subvert expectations in a positive way, the way the Biden economy did. But there are increasing signs of a Trump-triggered recession. Okay, and again, Trump inflation as well, skyrocketing under President Biden's watch, or on President Biden's watch, inflation was declining. Under Trump, it is increasing. So again, you know, Stephen Moore is right in the sense that these tariffs are a disastrous idea. And he actually, in this clip, gives a very specific example for a very specific industry.
Or positive.
Yeah, I saw the president, Katie, saying that it would be short-term pain for long-term gain. My concern is we can't afford short-term pain right now. The economy looks like it might be headed to a recession. We need the opposite. We need some steroids for the economy. That's the tax cut. Look, I go back and forth on Trump's tariffs. I like the idea of the reciprocal, that if we can force other countries to reduce their tariffs, that would be a good thing. We all know that free trade is one of the pillars of prosperity. Look, the steel and aluminum tariffs didn't work. It is true that we have the steel aluminum tariffs under Trump. We created about 3,000 to 5,000 steel and aluminum jobs. The problem, Katie, was that we lost about 25,000 jobs in other manufacturing in the United States that use steel and had to use more expensive steel. So I don't like the protectionist tariffs. I don't think they work very well. One other quick thing. I love Trump's idea. If you make something in America, Katie, you're only going to pay a 15% tax. That's the way to go.
So again, notice how he, once again, like most of them do, they have to couch their criticism of Trump in the most effuse, proselytizing language possible, because again, it's a cult of personality, right? That's what they're forced to do. But he's pointing out a specific example that Trump's tariffs previously just simply didn't work. I mean, when he triggered a trade war in his first term, which again, the trade war, the tariffs that he triggered against China in his first term were just infinitesimally surgical by comparison, right? It's not a 10 or 20 or 25% sweeping tariff on all imports. But even then, the trade war was not beneficial for the United States, right? It devastated American farmers. There were all sorts of exposés and editorials at the time, basically a safari through Trump country in the Midwest in the United States, where farmers who not only voted for Trump, not only benefit for the federal government, but voted for Trump, were regretting their decision because their livelihoods were devastated because of a painful and unnecessary trade war, which was nowhere near as reckless as the one he's triggering now. As a matter of fact, there have been macroeconomic surveys and analyses done of the Trump tariffs against China in particular in term one, and it amounted to one of the biggest tax increases in the history of the United States. And Trump had to scramble to subsidize the farmers whom he was screwing over with the stupid trade war with China. And again, the only reason I'm bringing that up is because that was then, and that was masterful by comparison, right? Because again, it was much more targeted. And even Stephen Moore is pointing out that, at least with the steel industry, it was a disaster then. And so what he's proposing now, what Trump is proposing now, is infinitely more reckless. What else do you expect? So the reason I bring this up, and I've mentioned this before, obviously, liberal economists and Democrats and economists who happen to be Democrats, them criticizing Trump, even if they're right, that's going to mean nothing to a Trump supporter, and potentially even to an independent, right? Because, you're biased, you're politically biased, you have TDS, you hate Trump. But I think it's important. I don't know if it's going to make a statistically significant impact, but I think it's just important to point out that no, it's not just liberals and it's not just Democrats, but actually people who are not only conservative, but devout Trump loyalists who want him to succeed. Like Stephen Moore is not doing this because he's a conservative. He's a principled conservative who hates Trump, right? He's not like a member of the Bulwark. He's not like Tim Miller or Bill Kristol or David Frum, conservatives who stuck to their principles and therefore stand in opposition to Trump, who's not a principled conservative, but rather, a demagogue, an authoritarian, malignant narcissist, populist, right, with no fixed worldview, no principles whatsoever. He is a Trump loyalist, and he wants Trump to succeed, and he's worried about not only, I imagine, his personal economic fallout, but what the political consequences will be for Trump, Trumpism, and MAGA if Trump triggers a recession, right? That hopefully Democrats will be able to ruthlessly exploit for political benefits in terms of tying Trump to that recession to the eyes of the American people. This is a plea for Trump to get his shit together. It's not I don't want you to succeed. It's I want you to succeed. You're going to drive yourself off a cliff, and I don't want you to do that. So perhaps on the margins, this will persuade the people in the MAGA camp who are somewhat persuadable to dissent or open to dissent against Trump to say that, oh God, this is actually disastrous policy. But I suppose I won't hold my breath. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.